Hello children, let me welcome you to the virtual class of the Brihan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika. My name is Shraddha teacher. Children, we are in the middle of this COVID-19 pandemic, and because of that we are not able to go to school, but that doesn't mean we are going to stop learning. So we are going to do many lessons which are very interesting from your textbook through the virtual class here. So let us do a lesson in English today. Our lesson for today will be a lesson in standard 10th English, and it is a poem called The Pulley. Now as you can see, and as I will keep showing you images now in this part of the poem, the pulley is a mechanical device which is used in order to lift weights. Alright, so this is what a pulley means. You must have learnt about a pulley in your science lessons. So then, is this a science lesson? No, it's an English lesson, and we are going to learn a poem, and the name of the poem is The Pulley. So let us try and understand what this lesson is about before we read the poem and try to understand the meaning of the stanzas in the poem. Now this particular poem is about the relationship between God and man. Now God is the creator, and man, or we human beings, we are the creation. And somewhere or the other, in one manner or the other, human beings are connected to God. Okay, and this connection is expressed in the form of a pulley. So the pulley has got here nothing to do with anything related to science or to physics or to lifting weights, but the pulley here in fact is the connection between man and God. Now children, you will wonder, then why is this poem called as The Pulley? Because this poem is a kind of a poem which is called as metaphysical poetry. Now when you study English in the further classes, that is now you are learning English in the 10th standard and you are going to an English medium school. So that is why these kind of metaphysical poetry is included in your syllabus. When you grow up a little bit more and when you decide that you want to learn English during your graduation, you will get to learn different kinds of poetry. You will learn that there are some poetry which are called as tragedies, some poetries are called as romantic poetries, then you have metaphysical poetries. So now metaphysical poetry means what? Metaphysical poetry means poems which are a little different, okay, from the usual poems that we have been learning. Now, isn't that poem also different? We have not gone to the poem yet, but see, the name of the poem is like the name of a science lesson. So there the difference begins. So metaphysical poetry is a little bit different. The poems are all highly intellectualized. That is, you cannot understand the meaning of the poem by just reading the, you can say, title of the poem, or just going through the poem once. You will not understand the meaning. So these poems are highly intellectualized. You have to think and you have to try to make a connection as to the meaning of the poem and the words which are used. And also these poems, they sometimes contain extremely complicated thoughts, that is difficult thoughts, thoughts which are not easy for us to imagine. That is why they are called as metaphysical poetry. And that is why the name of the poem is The Pulley. But nowhere in the poem, when you read it, children, you will realize that the word pulley has been used. So the pulley is used only in the title of the poem. Nowhere in the poem will you see the word pulley being used, and you will understand that pulley is a kind of a symbol which is there in this particular poem. So as I told you, this is going to be a little difficult to understand because the type of this poetry is metaphysical poetry. Let us move on and let us talk about what this poem will tell you about. So this poem will somehow try to tell you about the relationship between God and his creation, which is who are God's creations? All of us, human beings, as well as the plants and the animals and whatever you can see in nature. All of this is supposed to be God's creation. But we are the only, you can say, creation of God who is attached to him. You will never see animals worshipping God. You will never see trees and plants or rivers worshipping God. So we human beings are intelligent. We can think, we can express our emotions, we can express our gratitude, and that is why in one way or the other we are connected to God, and God also wants to keep this connection. Okay, he does not want to break this connection. So God is our father on this earth, and he uses a kind of a pulley to pull man back to him and keep him good. Now at home also you will see your mother is always concerned about you, your father is always concerned about you. When you go somewhere outside, your parents, they keep inquiring, they keep asking you when you will come back. When you go to stay with your aunt or your uncle for a few days, they will keep inquiring you, because that is a concern. So that is the pulley of concern which is connecting you with your parents. That is a pulley of love which is connecting you with your parents. Okay, that is a pulley of care which is connecting you with your parents. So in the same way, God has maintained a kind of pulley which keeps us connected to him. So after we read the poem, you will come to know what exactly this pulley is. Okay, so this entire poem is about the relationship between man and God, or rather what God expects out of man. What does he want out of man? So that is what we will see in this poem for today. So before we go to the actual poem, we will look at a few exercises which are there before the poem. So let us look at this particular exercise now. So you're supposed to go through the images which I will show you shortly, and you are supposed to try to link them with your lives. Okay, with our lives means your lives and my lives. For example, when we say a storm, when you see an image of a storm, I told you this poem has got a lot to do with imagery. Imagery means what? The pulley. So the pulley has got nothing to do here with the lesson or with the meaning of the lesson or with anything in the poem. But the pulley is used as a device of imagery. When you see the pulley, you imagine, yes, pulley means a connection. Okay. So in the same way, when we say storm, what comes to your mind? When someone tries to tell you, okay, this is a picture of a storm. Now imagine in your life, what can you connect with this image? So when does a storm happen, children? A storm happens when there is some kind of disturbance, isn't it, in the atmosphere. And are you happy when there is a storm happening around you? So do you look forward to a storm? Do you expect a storm to come into your neighborhood? Not at all. So a storm is something which we try to avoid, isn't it? We do not want to be in the middle of a storm. So here, storm means actually the hardships that we face in our life, the difficult times that we face in our life. So right now also, if you see, the entire world is in the middle of a storm, the storm of the COVID-19 pandemic. And when we know that when a storm passes, it causes a lot of damage to the environment and to people, to houses, to everything around it. So we also know that the COVID-19 pandemic is also causing quite a lot of damage, okay, to people's lives, to the economy of the country, to jobs, etc. So when we say storm, what is the imagery that should come into your mind? The hardships that we have in our life. Okay, so now let us look at some more interesting pictures and let us try to see what kind of incident in our life will you associate this with. So we have so many different images here. See, in the top of the grid you have the owl, okay, then you have a rose, and then later you have a tree. After that you have some dark clouds, then you have a bouquet of flowers, a river, mountain, and sunrise. So now let us try and associate, and let us try and see which picture we can associate with what idea, and then we will also try to see how we can justify this. Okay, so I will have my own justifications, you can have your own ideas. So for example, owl is supposed to be for wisdom. So whenever you see the picture of an owl, you're supposed to visualize that it is a person who's very, very smart, who's very, very wise, who knows a lot about the world, because that is how we perceive an owl. Okay, look at the next picture. It is that of a rose. And roses are supposed to be one of the most beautiful flowers on earth. So naturally, when you equate something with a rose, it means it is very, very beautiful. So a rose is equated with beauty. Look at the next thing. It is a tree. Okay, and it is not a tree which is dried up, but it is a tree which is very green, very lush. So what does this tree symbolize? A lush, green tree. It symbolizes life. Now, if this tree was dried up with no leaves on it, then it would have symbolized something else. But here in this case, this tree symbolizes life itself. Now, the next one is a little similar to what we discussed about the storm. So the storm also you can say tells you or makes you imagine about something not very pleasant. In the same way, the next one is dark clouds. So dark clouds, what do they mean? They mean sorrowful moments. So when there are dark clouds, it means there are times which are not very good for you. When you see the sunshine, when you see the brightness around you, it means those are good times. And when you see dark clouds, it means they are sorrowful moments, or they are moments which are not very indicative of happiness. Okay, so something which is not very, very joyful. Next is a bouquet. So yes, whom do you give a bouquet to? When you want to congratulate someone, when you want to celebrate with someone, when you want to honor someone, you give that person a bouquet. So here a bouquet symbolizes when you want to honor someone, when you want to give it as a mark of respect and love to someone. Okay, so a bouquet stands for honor. The next one is a river. So now look at the image of the river here. The river is flowing through a very difficult terrain. There are rocks in the middle of the river, but the river is still finding its way, isn't it? The river is not stopping and saying, oh my God, this path is so difficult, so I'm going to stop here now and let me take some rest. No, the river is showing a lot of determination. All right, it keeps flowing no matter what. So rivers are, you can say, symbols for determination. Let's move on and let's see what a mountain stands for. So we know, we say as tall as a mountain, as strong as a mountain, and we know mountains cannot move. You cannot move mountains. So mountains stand for strength. All right. And lastly, you have the sun peeping out of the mountains. That means there is sunrise. When you say sunrise, it means you have a new day. When you have a new day, it means you get to live a new life in that particular day. You get to do so many new things. You get new opportunities. So there is hope. When we see sun rising, that means it is a symbol for hope, where you can be hopeful that, okay, something good will happen in my life today. I will do something good with my time today. All right. So all these are examples of imagery. Imagery means things which do not mean what they actually are, but you try to associate it with something which is, you can say, connected to it in one way or the other. For example, rose. A rose is beautiful. So in imagery, you use a rose when you want to talk about beauty. So these are all, children, in a way, they are devices which are used by poets in order to make their poetry interesting. And we learn these devices under the heading of figures of speech, isn't it? We learn about simile, metaphor, etc. In this lesson also, there are a number of figures of speech that we have to learn, but that will be later. So now let us go to the poem. Let us read it properly, stanza by stanza, and let us try to understand what the poem means. So see, when God at first made man, having a glass of blessing standing by. So now when God decided to create man, he had glasses and glasses of blessings with him. So he said to himself, let us, said he, pour on him all we can.
So he was God was so big hearted, he was so large hearted, and he loved human beings so much when he created us, that he took all of his blessings and he said, come on now, let me pour on him all I can. So let me give the human beings all the blessings, all the good things that I can, that is possible for me. Let the world's riches means let the wealth, money, okay, in the world, which dispersed lie. So dispersed means distributed or spread over a wide area. So sometimes when you are in your house, you see your toys lying all over the place. Okay, your Ludo, your badminton bat, things lying all around. What do? You gather them and you put them in a box. So they were dispersed. And what did you do? You gathered them. So God also wants to gather. Contract means to gather. And in a short span of time, he wants to pour all these blessings on the human beings. Okay? He wants to bless human beings because we call God as our Father. And you know, even at home, your father, your mother, they try to give you all that they can. It is, of course, sometimes not possible also for them. Sometimes we as children, we make, you can say, demands which are not rational, okay? We tell them, no, we want this, we want that, my friend has got this. We should try to understand that our parents also have their limitations. But here, this is God. He has everything which is available to him. So he wants to give all of that to us. So what all things did he give us? So strength first made a way, then beauty flowed, then wisdom, honor, pleasure. So these were the gifts that he gave us. He gave us a strength. Strength means takat. Okay, and strength doesn't mean only physical strength. He gave us mental strength also. He gave us beauty. All right. So the first thing that he gave us was strength. Then he gave us beauty. Then he gave us wisdom. Wisdom means the ability to think about what is right, what is wrong, to make right decisions. Okay. So he gave us wisdom. He gave us honor. Means he gave us respect. All right. He gave us pleasure. Pleasure means what? The ability to enjoy the good things in life. When you go out into a garden and you see so many birds in the garden, you see so many flowers in the garden, you see the beauty of nature, you feel a lot of pleasure, isn't it? So God gave us pleasure also. So strength first made a way, then beauty flowed, then wisdom, honor, pleasure. When almost all was out, God made a stay. Now what happened is, he gave us almost everything. Almost. Alright? And then God stopped. God made a stay means he stopped for some time. Perceiving. Perceiving here means becoming aware of or conscious of. Suddenly you become aware of. Okay? Suddenly you become conscious of. When you are sometimes in your classroom and you start feeling sleepy because the previous night your mother scolded you not to watch TV, not to watch a movie, but you did it anyways. All right. And now you're feeling sleepy, and then you suddenly, your eyes close and you doze off. And then in a moment you perceive or you become aware or conscious of that you are sitting in your classroom and this is not the place where you should sleep. All right. So perceiving means becoming aware of or becoming conscious of something. So God went on giving, he went on giving, he went on giving. Suddenly he became conscious that everything is over now and there is just one thing left, and that is rest. Okay. Now here rest also means not only physical rest but also mental rest. So everything he has given. What is remaining now in his glass of blessings? It is only rest. Rest can also mean peace. Okay? peace of mind, or you can say well-being of the body, whatever. But peace, that is the only thing which is left in God's glass of blessings. So now God pauses for some time and he starts thinking. What does he start thinking? Let us see in the next stanza. For if I should bestow, for if I should, said he. What did he start thinking? He started thinking, now if I give, bestow means, what is the meaning of bestow? To bestow means to confer or to present or to give. He said, there is this rest or there is this peace which is left with me. So if I bestow this jewel on my creature, he said that if I give this also to my creature, who's the creature? Creature is human being. So he said, if I bestow this jewel also. So there were so many jewels which God had. He gave all of them away to the human being. But now he is having second thoughts. He's saying, if I give this jewel also to my creature, that is to human beings, he would adore my gifts instead of me. So he's saying he would adore. Adore means love or respect someone deeply. So God started thinking, if I give him everything, then will he turn to me? Will he need me? Alright, it is human nature, children. You must have seen it around you also, that we say, once you stop needing someone, you stop loving that person and you stop respecting that person. That is not a good habit. I'm not saying all of us are like that, but there are many people around us. We say, as long as they need us, they are good to us. The moment we are useless to them, we are of no use to them, they don't bother about us. There are people like this around us. So God started thinking, what if these human beings also become like that? What if they start loving and respecting not me but my gifts? Okay, and what if they start and rest in nature and not the God of nature? He's saying, what if they get so engrossed? What if they get so involved with all this beauty and strength and all this, and they stop thinking about me? Okay, they stop thinking about God, and they feel that no, nature is everything. And they do not think that no, this nature also has been created by God. So now God wants to have some connection with his creation. He does not want to break the connection with his creation by giving them everything, because he feels that if he does it, so both should losers be. If he gives something like this and if he gives everything to human beings, the human beings will stop connecting with God, and not only God will be the loser, but human beings also will be the loser. Man will also be the loser. Okay, so let me read this stanza once again for you. So if I should, said he, bestow this jewel also on my creature, he would adore my gifts instead of me, and rest in nature, not the God of nature. So both should losers be. So what does he think now? He thinks, no, I should not let this happen. So come on, let me do something which will prevent this thing from happening. Yet let him keep the rest. So he says, let him keep the rest. All the other gifts he can keep, but keep them with repining restlessness. Repining here means feeling or expressing discontent. Discontent means not fully satisfied. So what did he do? God gave everything to man, but he did not give him peace. He did not give him rest. Okay, he kept him little unsatisfied. Now you are still children, but even then you must have seen that people are always wanting more. If they have a small TV, they want a bigger TV. If they have a cycle, they want a motorcycle. If they have a motorcycle, they want a car. Okay, so people are never satisfied. So this is, you can say, one thing which God kept from us. Why did he keep it from us? Why did he not give us everything? So that we would never look at him, we would never talk to him, we would never connect with him. Okay, so he said, let him be rich and weary. So here, weary means tired. Okay, so let him be rich. You will be rich, but you will be tired also. And here, tired does not mean physical tiredness. I keep telling you this. Strength does not mean physical strength only. It means mental strength also. Rest also means peace. Okay, also means physical rest and mental rest. And weary means a tiredness, not only of the body but also of the mind. So you will see how there are people who are very rich, but they go to temples, they go to masjids, they go to churches, okay, for peace of mind. So what did he say? If goodness lead him not, yet weariness may toss him to my breast. So he's saying if people are good also, they worship God. It is not necessary that only bad people worship God. Okay, only people who are dissatisfied worship God. That is not the truth. People who are good also tend to worship God. So he says the good people will come to me automatically. But the people who are not satisfied, not happy, will also come to me. So toss here means what? It has got varied meanings. So toss means to throw something lightly or casually. So like we say, I entered my house and I tossed the purse on the sofa. That means I just threw my purse on the sofa. But here, toss means to attract someone or to pull someone. So George Herbert, he's saying that he will be tossed. The human beings will be tossed means the human beings will be attracted or pulled to my breast. Here means to myself, to my chest. When you love someone so much, or when you are very emotional, okay, when you feel like crying, what do? You go and hug your mother, isn't it? You hug your father. So you go and attach yourself to them. So that is what is the meaning of toss him to my breast. So you will go and embrace God. Okay. So don't you think, children, this poem is actually not very easy to understand, because there are so many ideas in this. See, and there are so many difficult concepts also in this. That is why this kind of poems are called as metaphysical poetry. Okay, so this was the poem and the explanation of the poem. I hope you understood what this poet wants to say. Alright, now let us talk about, in a few lines, let us try and understand in short what the poem is about. So God has bestowed innumerable gifts on man. See, God is pouring out of his glass into the human being. He's pouring strength, he's pouring beauty, he's pouring so many things into the human being. So he's given us so many gems, so many gifts, all right, because he loves us, isn't it? But he has still kept a pulley. He has still kept a connection. He has not cut off the connection. He has kept something which will keep connecting us to God. And what is that something? It is restlessness. And that is the pulley. And that is why the pulley is the name of the lesson. So restlessness means dissatisfaction, discontent. So this is the pulley. So that is why the name of the lesson is the pulley. So was it very easy to establish why the name of the lesson is pulley? You had to read the entire poem, understand the meaning of the poem, and then understand that, okay, this is why the name of the poem is pulley. Isn't it? That is why these are called as metaphysical poems. Okay. So what has God done? God has created a restlessness, and this restlessness acts like the pulley which binds human beings to their creator, that is God. Okay, children, so this was about the poem for today. There is this exercise which let us do quickly, and the remaining part of the lesson we will do it next time. So this is a kind of you can say word pyramid. Now you have learnt in 8th standard, I think, you have had a lesson called word play, in which you learnt about word chains, you learnt about word ladders, word pyramids, etc. So we know what a word pyramid is. A word pyramid is a kind of a word game in which you develop the word. You start with one letter, then you move to two, then you move to three letters, 4-letter words, 5-letter words, and you develop a kind of a pyramid. Alright, each pyramid will give you more knowledge about words. So actually word pyramid is a kind of a vocabulary game which will help you to develop your knowledge of words in a way which is a game. Okay, so let us see how our word pyramid here will help us to develop our vocabulary. So an article. So what is an article? Which article can you put here? Which is an article with a single letter that you can put here at the top of the pyramid? So it is the article a or a, as we say. Alright. Then a preposition. So which is a preposition which will have an a to it, and we can add one more letter. So preposition at. Past tense of a lie. So what could be the past tense of lie? It is L-A-Y. Lay. Okay. What is the maximum length of your open palm? What do you call it? The maximum length of your open palm? You call it a span. S-P-A-N. This word is used in the poem also, but that was span of time. Okay, and this is span of your open palm. Make much of means what? A-D-O-R-E. Adore. Make much of means give too much importance to something. Loveliness. So what is loveliness? Loveliness is beauty. Alright. In place of. So in place of here would mean instead. Instead of. A collection of priceless valuables are what? Have you guessed it? Yes, it means treasure. A collection of priceless valuables. Collection, not just one. When it is one, we say jewel. When it is a collection, we say treasure. Okay? Restlessness and discontent. So what is restlessness and discontent? This word is there in your textbook in this particular lesson, but not this form. So it is weariness. You have the word weary or tired in your textbook. Okay, children. So this was the poem, a little bit about exercises before the poem and this particular exercise from the after part of the poem, that is the English workshop part. So today we have just this much time to do this. So let us continue this part of the lesson in the next video which I will put up for you. So wait for my next video.
So children, now you have watched the video. So after you watch the video now, you will have to complete a few simple tasks. Now you might have watched the video on your computers or your laptops or your mobile phones. Now after you watch the video, what will you do? You will please go to the description box which is given below the video. So what is the description box? See, the description box looks like this. Alright, and after you go to the description box, you will see that there are a few questions there. Now what are these questions about? These questions are about the lesson that we just learned or the video that you just watched. So what will you do? You will think back properly about the lesson and you will try and answer these questions and note down the answers in your notebook if you want. Okay? After that, we have another task waiting. You will also click on the link which you will find in the description box to fill up the Google form. So now what is the Google form, children? It is nothing but a simple form. There are a few simple questions there about the video which you just saw and also about yourself. So these are the tasks now that you will have to complete after you watch each video. So children, wasn't that a very interesting lesson? I'm sure you learnt a lot of new things in this lesson. If you have liked this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe to my video so that you will get to see all the videos which I keep posting regularly.